Which one is running your life right now? And how much is it costing you? You call it personality, preference, just who I am. But Jung saw something deeper, ancient patterns, archetypes, moving through you like unseen rulers, the hero chasing validation, the lover addicted to approval, the ruler afraid to lose control. Until you make the unconscious conscious, Jung warned, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. So look carefully, are you choosing your path, or merely playing a role written long before you were born? The innocent archetype promises safety and optimism, but when it controls you, it keeps you naive to necessary truths. There is a part of you that wants to believe everything will work out, that people mean well, that life will somehow protect you if you stay good enough. Carl Jung observed that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. And this is exactly how the innocent operates when unchecked. It blinds you with hope while quietly steering you away from reality. You might avoid conflict, ignore red flags, or cling to comforting illusions because facing truth feels like losing your sense of security. But life does not reward blindness, it rewards awareness. The Stoics understood this well. Epictetus taught that you must see things as they are, not as you wish them to be. When you refuse to see clearly, you surrender your agency. The cost of the innocent archetype is not peace, it is vulnerability to betrayal, stagnation, and self-deception. Reflect on where you might be choosing comfort over truth. Ask yourself, what am I avoiding seeing right now? What truth would disrupt my sense of safety? Growth begins the moment you allow your innocence to mature into wisdom. You don't lose your hope, you refine it into something grounded, something resilient, something that cannot be shattered by reality because it is built on it. The hero archetype drives you to prove your worth through achievement, but it can trap you in a life of endless striving and exhaustion. You feel it as a constant pressure to overcome, to win, to become someone impressive. You measure your life in victories and failures, always asking, am I enough yet? Marcus Aurelius wrote, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. But the hero often misunderstands this, turning life into a battlefield where rest feels like weakness and vulnerability feels like defeat. Jung would say this is the ego identifying too strongly with a single role, cutting you off from the fullness of your psyche. The shadow side of the hero is burnout, emptiness, and the quiet fear that without your achievements, you are nothing. The Stoics remind you that your worth is not in external victories, but in your inner character, what you control, your judgments, your actions. Consider this. If everything you built disappeared tomorrow, who would you be? If that question terrifies you, the hero may be running your life. A simple practice is to deliberately do something with no goal of winning. Create, rest, or help someone anonymously. Notice the discomfort. That discomfort is the grip of the archetype loosening. True strength is not just in conquering the world, but in no longer needing to. The caregiver archetype seeks to nurture others, but when dominant, it leads you to neglect yourself and breed hidden resentment. You might pride yourself on being the one people rely on, the one who shows up, who sacrifices, who gives endlessly. And yet, beneath that generosity, there can be a quiet exhaustion, even bitterness, that you rarely admit. Jung warned that what you repress does not disappear, it returns in distorted forms. When you ignore your own needs, they don't vanish. They become resentment, burnout, or even passive aggression. Seneca wrote, "He who is everywhere is nowhere," reminding you that spreading yourself too thin leaves you empty. The caregiver, when unconscious, teaches you to equate love with self-erasure. But real care is not martyrdom. It includes you. Reflect honestly. Do you give because you want to, or because you fear being unloved if you don't? Do you feel guilty when you rest or say no? These are signals. A practical exercise is to set one boundary this week. Just one. Say no without over-explaining. Notice the guilt, but don't obey it. This is how you begin to reclaim balance. You are not abandoning others, you are including yourself in the circle of care. And paradoxically, this makes your love cleaner, freer, and far more sustainable. The rebel archetype pushes you to break rules and seek freedom, but it can keep you stuck in opposition rather than true independence. There is a part of you that resists authority, rejects norms, and takes pride in being different. At its best, this archetype fuels innovation and courage, but when it dominates, your identity becomes defined by what you are against, not what you are for. Jung might call this a form of shadow projection. You define yourself in contrast to others rather than in alignment with your true self. The Stoics would see this as another form of bondage. If your actions are reactions, you are still controlled, just indirectly. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." If you need something to rebel against, to feel alive, you are not free. You are dependent on resistance. Consider where you might be rejecting things not because they are wrong, but because they are conventional. Ask yourself, if no one were watching, would I still choose this path? A powerful practice is to choose something deliberately, not as rebellion, but as alignment, something quiet, even ordinary. Freedom is not loud defiance, it is calm self-direction. The rebel matures when it stops fighting everything and starts choosing consciously. The ruler archetype seeks control and order, but when it dominates, it traps you in anxiety and the illusion that you can control everything. You may feel a constant need to organize, manage, and ensure that everything goes according to plan. There is comfort in control. It creates the illusion of certainty in an uncertain world. But Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, you have power over your mind, not outside events. When the ruler archetype takes over, you forget this boundary. You start trying to control outcomes, people, even time itself. And when reality refuses to comply, anxiety creeps in. Jung would say this is the ego overreaching, attempting to dominate what is inherently uncontrollable. The cost is not just stress, it is rigidity, strained relationships, and a life that feels more like management than living. Reflect on where you feel the most tension. This often marks where you are trying to control too much. A simple but difficult practice is to intentionally let something be imperfect. Don't correct it, don't fix it, just observe your discomfort. This is how you confront the illusion. The ruler becomes wise not by controlling everything, but by mastering what truly belongs to you, your thoughts, your responses, your character. Everything else is not yours to command, no matter how tightly you grip it.